SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
At Community Bank, we're more than a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors and trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've helped families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. We're dedicated to your success every step of the way. Community Bank, member FDIC.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Thanksgiving week. Today is the 24th of November. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. We're available to you on the radio. A dozen stations across the entire state of Mississippi. Greenville to Meridian, Iuka to Woodville, Hernando to Ocean Springs, and all points in between. Also streaming online at supertalk.fm, Supertalk TV, available as a podcast. We try to be as easy to consume as we can so that it's easy for you. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks so much for joining us to start your day. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank. Find them online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Lance, good morning.
Good morning, RC. I hope you had a good weekend. I'm sure you were busy.
Yes. I was at Auburn this weekend. Had that football game. And you remember Deuce Knight, the high school quarterback from George County?
Definitely, yeah, of course.
Made his debut as a starter at Auburn and kind of rewrote the record books. Like, literally. Broke 2 or 3 of Cam Newton's records. I think he had 6 or 7 carries for about 175 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Welcome to college football.
Yeah,
so
that's how you do it.
Pretty cool to see.
That's how you do it.
Pretty cool to see. They made it back. A lot of leaf blowing. The wizardry, I told you about this last week, of the department or the guy, if it's just a person who drives by and gets the leaves up, like sucks up the leaves with the big truck for the city and hauls them off. It continues. I blew leaves yesterday for hours. He came on a Sunday and picked them up, Lance.
Yeah, that's when you drop them a 20, man. I was like, thank you. Here's your
I wasn't like in a spot where I could see him doing it. I kind of came around the corner as he was pulling away, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah,
Absolutely, he needs a tip. Though.
Yeah, it needs a tip. My garbage guys are a trip. About every month, I'll pull the big garbage can out from the patio where I put all my Corona beer bottles, and I let it fill up before I roll it out. And it's pretty much a laborious effort to get it from there to here. No. And so my guys, man, I mean, they like when they come through, they're like, they'll get the guy driving, and they're like, come on, man. And he has to come back there, and all 3 of them will lift it. And the other day, I was just kind of eavesdropping while they were laughing and, kind of cussing me a little bit. But I know them, man. And so I kind of came out from behind a tree, and I said, buddy, I'm going to tip you very well this year. He goes, oh, man, y'all always do that. But they're just very nice people. But, yeah, anytime you can give them a tip, yeah, that's a thankless job right there.
Don't you feel like that maybe you were born in the wrong era? Like
Definitely.
The era when you could take glass bottles and get the 10 cents for them for turning them back in. I mean, just imagine.
Well, my dad was, what you call a hoarder. So, yeah, I mean, I totally understand the mindset. Yeah. We didn't hoard bottles, but golf balls, 10,000, in 4, maybe 5 different garbage cans that we've accumulated.
Yeah.
And he won't sell them. Won't come off of them either. He's 79, and we don't play golf anymore together. So.
The technology in those golf balls may be obsolete at this point, but hey, that's...
Well, considering we fished him out of the Pearl River, yeah, I think that they're probably mostly dead, but, they're trophies for him. So
There you go. Made it to the deer stand with Obi yesterday afternoon for the first time this year, and that was great. We didn't see a lick, nothing. Didn't see a thing, but pretty good father-son time there.
Can't beat that. That's
Not at all.
priceless times, especially when you don't see anything. You get to kind of sit there and goof off a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. How about your weather forecast across the state of Mississippi? We're going to hit some college towns and then grab a city on the coast this morning. Oxford, mostly cloudy. Some showers perhaps this afternoon. High of 67, winds light and variable. 60% chance of rain today. Starkville, sunshine and clouds mixed for you with a high of 72. Winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And we will peek ahead in Starkville as well. Site of the Egg Bowl on Friday, partly cloudy skies. Friday in Starkville with a high of 53. Winds light, variable. Some people would call that football weather. High in the 50s? Yes, please. Hattiesburg, you've got areas of patchy fog this morning, then going to be partly cloudy. 79 today for you with winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And in lovely downtown Ocean Springs today, partly cloudy, 77 degrees, breezy out of the southeast. So, what's your forecast today across the state of Mississippi? It really looks like the weather for most of the state on Thanksgiving Day is going to be spectacular. Your highs are going to be somewhere between 50 and, 58, 59. Might touch 60 in some parts of the state, and then the lows are going to be in the 30s. Low 40s in some parts, which is just kind of ideal. You want to get out and get a deer stand that afternoon? Perfect. You got the family game of football in the yard? Nailed it. You got it. Lance, do y'all do Thanksgiving lunch or Thanksgiving supper? Dinner?
Lunch usually, yeah.
Yeah. Like right at high noon, or do the time kind of varies?
No, we're not very formal in that regard, yeah. Just when it's done and ready,
yeah.
The bell rings.
I have a bell.
No, I'm kidding. That's just
figurative bell.
I was thinking of Bonanza.
I was going to say, it's kind of cool, if you got a literal bell.
No. We went back in the days when we had a kitchen at the hunting club. They'd ring the big bell, and it would come from everywhere. 3 meals a day. That was nice.
Not to be disrespectful, but is there a president that is less known or remembered than the 12th president of the United States, Zachary Taylor? He was president from 1849 until from 17. Hold on. That's right. He only served a year as president. 49 to 50. He was born on this day in 1784. Was a major general in the Mexican-American War. Zachary Taylor, is that one that can just kind of slip your mind?
Easy.
Francis Hodgson Burnett was born on this day in 1849, the British-American playwright and children's author. Perhaps a couple of books you will recognize, The Secret Garden and Little Lord Fauntleroy. Scott Joplin, ragtime entertainer and composer. He was born in Texarkana, Texas. Not to be confused with Texarkana, Arkansas. He did the Maple Leaf Rag and another song that I think you absolutely will recognize. Let's see. Let me see if I can play this for you. Scott Joplin. Here you go. There you go. The Entertainer? Do you remember the movie that went with?
Paul Newman movie.
Yeah.
The Heist or whatever it was called. What is it?
Wasn't it Sting?
The Sting, yeah.
The Sting. There you go. Scott Joplin. Big O, Oscar Robertson, born on this day in 1938. He's 87 years old, an American NBA guard. Played his college basketball at the University of Cincinnati. Played with Cincinnati and Milwaukee in the NBA. Won an Olympic gold medal in 1960. In 1962, He became the first NBA player to average a triple-double for a season. There are only two others that have done it since, and they are both modern-era players, Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic. And then how about this? Born on this day in 1968, Todd Beamer, an American passenger hero on U.S. United Airlines Flight 93. Beamer, along with several other passengers, including Mark Bingham and Jeremy Glick, decided to try to retake control of the plane from the hijackers after learning about the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. He and other passengers stormed the cockpit, leading to the plane crash in the field in Pennsylvania, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, rather than hitting a probable target in Washington, D.C. Many people thought that it was indeed the United States Capitol where that plane was headed. Beamer's last known words were, "Let's roll," heard by an operator during a phone call made from the plane. In honor of Beamer, the Todd M. Beamer Foundation, later renamed Heroic Choices, was established to assist children who lost a parent on September the 11th. Also, American actress Katherine Heigl played Izzy in Grey's Anatomy, model as well, born in Washington, D.C. on this day in 1978. Mornings with Richard Cross, just getting started. We'll be right back with you.
And the Venable Duck Hill to Alligator. Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
You ready for Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? They're on right now at C Spire. Like any new iPhone, up to $1,000 off a trade-in, plus a free Apple Watch SE to go with it. Or for Samsung fans, you can get the new Galaxy S25 free today. No trade-in needed. The best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals go fast, so don't wait. Shop now at cspire.com or visit your local C Spire store today. C Spire, customer inspired. C Spire text line is open to you this morning, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. As someone who grew up in Louisiana, I always remember Zachary Taylor as the first honorary Cajun to be elected president. Even though he was born in Virginia, he was a resident of Baton Rouge for years. Outstanding. Ed remembered the Sting with the Entertainer. Jeff says the turkey meal is at roughly 2 o'clock. Always seems to work out about that way. Lots of acorns for the deer hunters out there this year. If my yard is any indication. Whew. Man, I've got a big post oak outside, kind of alongside my driveway in the back and right next to my office. And about every other day, Lance, like by the thousands, and the little bitty ones. And then we've got an oak tree in the back that's got the great big acorns also that look like walnuts almost.
Yeah, gumballs.
Man.
I lived at a place out close to the lake at Sardis, and there was 3 of those huge oaks in it. And it'd be sitting there in the den, and about this time of year or before, they would start dropping. And it sounded like firecrackers going off. Those huge, big gumball ones. You could go out there and just rake up bazillions of them. The deer loved them. And there was decades of them there before I bought the place that had just kind of piled up.
Yeah.
But, man, those things are huge. It's this time of year, though. The deer are like, all right, man, I'm going to find those acorns. They're good at it.
We were driving home last night after we had hunted for a little while and probably saw, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe a dozen deer on the way home, about half of those in our neighborhood. Nobody was like, why couldn't they have been out there where we were? It's like,
they're
these are
smart.
Domesticated deer. They are not scared of anything here.
No, well, and the deer are smart enough to know when people have a weapon and start shooting at them. They get a little bit more creeping around and slinky. You got to work a little harder.
Mm-hmm. Amanda in Pike County said it's foggy like a big dog in Walthall County this morning. Be careful, folks.
It was misty here in the central Mississippi area coming in, so beware.
Lance, have you ever done a music segment on Graham Parsons?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love Graham. Buddy and I covered him probably about 6 months ago. We're going to do a full segment. We had just discussed this, actually, doing a full segment on Graham Parsons, which we do on the 11 o'clock hour from about 11:05 to 11:22 on Saturday. So it's about 10, 12 minutes, but I think we'll either do it this week or next week. What a fascinating guy.
There you go. Somebody says if you want to get a deer, you better be hunting over acorns.
Yeah, well, considering there's not many other options, you can't bait too many things these days. So I can tell you one thing, if you had corn and strawberry bran and it was legal to put out wherever if you can still do that, if you're not in the area where the CWD is, the strawberry bran, they can't stand it, man. I mean, they cannot, in other words, when they smell it, they come a-running.
Yeah.
So if you are able to do that and you're not seeing many deer, I'd go get a little strawberry bran. As the great executive director Lynn Posey said the other day, don't put it on the ground, though.
That's right. That's right. On this day in 1859, English naturalist Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species, radically changing the view of evolution and laying the foundation for evolutionary biology. In 1960, Philadelphia Senator Wilt Chamberlain, this number is crazy, pulled down an NBA record 55 rebounds in a Warriors win over Boston.
He was a giant among men.
Yeah, he was. 55 rebounds in a game. That's crazy. Today in 1966, the Beatles began recording sessions for their album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Perhaps the Beatles... Say what?
I'm saying that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Perhaps the Beatles' album with the most enduring legacy is this one, Sgt. Pepper. It was released at the height of the counterculture movement in the 1960s. The final product, released 4 days early in the United Kingdom and then released on June 1st, 1967, here contained innovative songs such as Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, She's Leaving Home, and A Day in the Life. Over the years, the album slipped in the favorability rankings among Beatles fans and critics and was considered by some to be superfluous and inauthentic. Nevertheless, commercial success, 32 million copies sold. It became the best-selling album of 1967 and one of the best-selling records of all time. It's the one with all the people.
Yeah, well, and Aleister Crowley's at the top left. Yeah, the good guy. The world's most evil man, they put on the cover.
Who?
You don't know who Aleister Crowley is? The great magician, the black artist, and Jack Parsons and the whole story with that. But at any rate,
okay.
He's what you would call a devil worshiper.
Oh.
Yeah, and amongst all of the faces on that, he's at the top left, second over from the top left.
Today in 1979, the Senate report proved that United States troops in Vietnam were exposed to the toxic chemical defoliant Agent Orange, or Orange. During the Vietnam War, the Air Force engaged in a program of herbicidal warfare known as Operation Ranch Hand. For 10 years, the Air Force sprayed forests in South Vietnam, affecting some 5 million acres of forest, or some 20% of all the forests in South Vietnam. There were several chemicals that were used. The most famous was Agent Orange. You also had agents green, pink, purple, blue, and white. The idea behind using the chemicals was to destroy the foliage, acting as a potential cover for the Viet Cong insurgents who used trails through the forest for supply lines and camps. The impacts on the Vietnamese people and the ecosystem were devastating, estimated by the Vietnamese Red Cross. And not everybody agrees with these numbers, that as many as 3 million Vietnamese suffered illness due to the chemicals. Around 1 million people are disabled. Many children were born with deformities as a result of prenatal exposure to Agent Orange. Bad stuff.
Oh, yeah. My cousin, the Colonel, he's had to deal with a byproduct of that a little bit in his 70s and 80s, but really took a long time to kind of show up. But the Marine Corps said, yep, it's Agent Orange. That's what you're dealing with.
Few news headlines for you this morning. The Mississippi Department of Human Services is distributing the remaining November SNAP benefits to all of its recipients, with the longest shutdown in U.S. history coming to an end earlier this month. Officials at the state level scrambled to deliver full SNAP benefits to people who missed all or part of their regularly monthly payments. Mississippi officials, you may remember, announced a temporary pause on SNAP benefits last month. Then they said people would get up to 65% of the benefits and vowed to issue this month's funds as soon as possible. Now they are expecting that recipients will get their total benefit balance, if not by the end of last week, then certainly by early this week. MDHS further added that the December benefits are expected to be issued on time. So for those who rely heavily on that, that is good news. The Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary Gibson, says, hey, when you get a Christmas tree this year, why don't you buy it locally right here in Mississippi? Nearly 30 Christmas tree farms operate across Mississippi, producing thousands of trees each year, including varieties such as the Leland cypress and the eastern red cedar. State officials note that real trees are biodegradable and environmentally friendly, and that buying local keeps dollars circulating right here in Mississippi. Most Christmas tree farms open their season on or just around Thanksgiving Day, so that's this week or this coming weekend. Some farms also allow you to go out and pre-tag the Christmas tree that you want. Did your family do real tree or fake tree growing up?
Real growing up. Now the fake.
Yeah.
It's easier.
That's where we are. We were real tree for a long time, but my son has asthma, and we couldn't figure out what had caused it to flare up when he was little. Turned out it was the Christmas tree. We took that thing outside, and he was good the next day, so we've kind of had to go with that.
Yeah, the real ones are pretty pungent.
Mm-hmm. They smell like Christmas, though. Mm-hmm. Whew. New partnership will allow undergraduate students at Millsaps to pursue an accelerated law degree at Ole Miss. The two institutions recently signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, creating the Pathway to Law School initiative, giving students the opportunity to trim a year off of the time needed to earn both a bachelor's degree and a law degree. Millsap students who complete a specific curriculum of undergrad coursework can apply to and attend Ole Miss Law School. After successfully finishing their first year of law school, Millsaps will count those credits and award the student their bachelor's degree, paving the way to a JD completion earlier than usual. We're back with you right after this.
From the Seabrook Morning, Mississippi. You're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. A pleasure to be with you as you start your day, you start your work week. What hopefully for most of you is a bit of an abbreviated work week. At the very least, we hope you get Thursday off. A lot of folks going to be taking Friday off as well. And then for some of you, you just kind of shut it down for the entire week, in which case we say congratulations, good for you. It's time for your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Online, you can find them at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Jared Lockhart threw a touchdown pass and ran for a score to help Jackson State hold off Alcorn State 27-21 in the regular season finale on Saturday. Helps Jackson State earn a spot in the SWAC championship game. Ahmad Miller had a 57-yard run on the first play from scrimmage for the Tigers, who are ranked 15th in the most recent FCS coaches poll. Lockhart totaled 195 yards on 15 of 17 passing. Nate Rembert had 7 receptions for 120 yards. Miller carried 15 times for 106 in the ballgame. Jackson State earlier this year got a win over Alabama State They finished with a tied 7-1 record, but because of the win, it's Jackson State that wins the SWAC East Division, and they will play in the conference championship game. Congrats to them. Another good year for Jackson State, Lance, 9-2.
Oh, yeah, he's done an amazing job. I mean, Dion built a monster, and then TC come in and just absolutely kept it rolling. So congrats to them. And I love the unis, man. I mean, they have branded themselves so well, and they stand out, and their unis just pop. So that has a lot to do with things. You know, you got to look good to play good.
There you go. Look good, play good, feel good,
be good.
Be good. Or something like that. The Cowboys ended up beating the Eagles 24-21 yesterday, with Dak Prescott directing a final minute drive that ended in a game-winning 42-yard field goal as time expired. Prescott finished the game with 354 yards on 23 of 36 passing with 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown, as the Cowboys tied the largest come-from-behind victory in team history. They were down 21 in the game. Along the way, Dak Prescott set the franchise record for career passing yards. He needed 160 yards against the Eagles to pass Tony Romo. The record was 34,183 yards. That mostly came in the 128 starts for Tony Romo. Prescott now with 34,378 career passing yards. He passed Romo's mark in the 132nd start of his career. Prescott earlier this year became the franchise leader in completions. He's now up to 3,056. He's second all-time in Cowboys history in pass attempts, trailing only Troy Aikman with 715. He's also second in touchdown passes. Tony Romo holds that record with 247. Last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, Prescott became the Cowboys' third Cowboys quarterback with at least 80 wins in his career, closing in on Troy Aikman's record of 94. In second place, Roger Staubach, the Hall of Famer, who has 85. Some scores from around the NFL yesterday. If you are keeping up with that, the Texans beat the Bills 23-19 on Thursday night. And then yesterday, it was the Chicago Bears moving to 8-3 on the year, a 31-28 win over the Steelers. Patriots beat the Bengals 26-20. New England, with Drake May as their quarterback, is 10-2. Another heartbreaking loss for the New York Giants. The Detroit Lions beat them 34-27 in overtime. Giants fall to 2-10. Jameis Winston was the starting quarterback once again, as Jackson Dart has yet to completely clear concussion protocol. He's missed the last 2 games. Packers beat the Vikings 23-6. Seahawks over the hapless Tennessee Titans 30-24. Titans are now 1-10. Chiefs beat the Colts 23-20. Kansas City 6-5. Ravens over the Jets 23-10. The Ravens are 6-5. The Browns in Shedeur Sanders' first start at quarterback with a 24-10 over the Las Vegas Raiders. Took overtime, but the Jags beat the Cardinals 27-24. Talked about the Cowboys a moment ago, 24-21 over the Eagles. Dallas now 5-1 on the year. In New Orleans, another loss for the Saints. They are 2-9 on the year. They lost to the hated rival Atlanta Falcons 24-10. And then last night, boy, the Rams put a whooping on the Buccaneers, 34-7, the final. Matthew Stafford with 3 touchdown passes in the ballgame. Monday Night Football coming your way from San Francisco tonight. It's the Panthers and the 49ers. So those are your NFL scores. It was not the greatest slate of college football games this past weekend. This was, if you follow SEC teams, a week where you had a bunch of SEC teams that were playing non-conference opponents. A&M blanked Samford 48-0 to stay undefeated. They are 11-0. Georgia beat Charlotte 35-3. They're now 10-1. Oklahoma with a win over Missouri. Top 25 matchup there in Norman. Oklahoma moves to 9-2 with their 17-6 win. Alabama beat Eastern Illinois 56-0. How about the Vanderbilt Commodores? Now 9-2 on the year. after a 45-17 win over Kentucky. 5 touchdown passes and 484 yards through the air for Diego Pavia. Everybody just described it as a party on West End. What a year. Vanderbilt will play Tennessee this weekend with a chance to get to 10 wins for the year. Arkansas still winless in the SEC as Arch Manning in Texas beat them 52-37. Manning threw for multiple touchdowns, ran for multiple touchdowns, and caught a touchdown pass in the game. He threw for 389 yards and 4 scores. Tennessee led 31-0. They won at 31-11 over Florida. Auburn no trouble with Mercer, 62-17. Mississippian Deuce Knight, 2 touchdown passes in his debut as a starter for the Auburn Tigers. He also ran it 9 times for 162 yards and 4 touchdowns. That included a 75-yard touchdown run and a 51-yard touchdown run as well. And it was not easy for LSU, but they got a win, 13-10 over Western Kentucky. LSU is 7-4, and looking for a new coach. Stop me if you've heard that. You can stop me now. We'll see where that goes this week. Crazy story out of Birmingham. Lance, I mentioned I was in Auburn, and I saw a news headline pop up while we were doing the broadcast. A UAB football player on Saturday morning at the Football Operations Center stabbed 2 of his teammates. The 2 wounded players were in stable condition. The team decided to go ahead and play the game in honor of the graduating seniors in their final home game, though several players sat out because of the incident. The teammate suspected in the stabbing was not identified by UAB, but police records show that Daniel Mincy, an offensive lineman who transferred to the school in May, was arrested and booked on charges of aggravated assault and attempted murder, according to Jefferson County jail records.
Never heard of that before.
No kidding. I mean, you talk about a disagreement. Something like that premeditated? Maybe?
You got to bring the knife, right? Unless there was something laying around.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're just in the training room and you grab some scissors? I don't know. North Half and South Half championship games are set in the MHSAA. 7A, you got Tupelo and Oxford after Tupelo beat Germantown and Oxford beat Horn Lake. In the South, it's Brandon and Gulfport. Brandon, a 30-27 winner over Oak Grove. Gulfport beat Petal 45-10. And so the winners of those 2 games will meet on December 6th in the 7A state championship game. In 6A, in the North, you've got Ridgeland and Warren Central. In the South, it's Hattiesburg and Picayune. 5A, in the North, West Point rolled over Pontotoc 37-0. They will play Holmes County Central in the North Half championship game. And Brookhaven, no trouble with Wayne County. Beat them 42-7. Laurel beat Stone, so Brookhaven and Laurel will play for a berth in this 5A state title game in the South. 4A, your North Half is Kosciuszko and Louisville. I know, shocking to see those teams playing for a North Half championship. Poplarville and Columbia will play in the 4A South title game. In 3A, in the North, it's Noxubee County and Winona. In the South, Raleigh and Seminary. In 2A, the matchup is Kemper County against East Webster in the North, Heidelberg and Mize in the South to meet for a state title. And finally, in 1A, Biggersville and Calhoun City will meet for the right to take on the winner of Simmons and Taylorsville. That's your sports update presented by Pearl River Resort.
And the Venable want to know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Monday morning, November 24th. Glad to be with you. Here is your Mississippi Lottery update. It's brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery, online at mslottery.com. Last week, the Lottery Claims Office paid out $931,000, while retailers, well, they handed out winnings of a little over $4.5 million. Congratulations to all the winners. There's a big Powerball drawing tonight. The jackpot is up to $654 million. The estimated cash value, $303,200,000. That's after Saturday night's drawing that yielded no jackpot winner. The numbers were 28, 32, 36, 51, 69. The Powerball was 2, and the Power Play multiplier was 2. Mega Millions slowly creeping up after a jackpot winner last week. The estimated jackpot for tomorrow night, Tuesday night's drawing, is $70 million. There was a winner in the Mississippi Match 5 on Saturday. One ticket purchased at Sprint Mart in Jackson matched all 5 numbers to win the $470,000 jackpot. That's kind of nice going into the holiday season. Estimated jackpot tonight resets. It's at $52,000. Sunday's numbers were 6, 13, 19, 22, and 26. Be a heck of a stocking stuffer, wouldn't it? If you just dropped $470,000 in it. Yeah. Would not be so bad. That's your Mississippi Lottery update, online, mslottery.com. All right, Lance, we gave the scores and the matchups for the North Half and South Half matchups that are coming up in high school football. What a weekend, man. There were some great games across the state this past week, and so cool for those high school players that put so much into it to get to this point where they're just one win away from a state championship opportunity.
Yeah, you had MAIS championships, too, and 3 of our 4 crew, we were over at Mississippi College. I'm sorry. I'm going to say MC. Yeah. You got to distinguish it. And what a great first half between Hartfield and JA. But the 2 minutes right before half, man, let me tell you, that there was some JA just kind of did what they do, and that second half blew it open. Congratulations to Jackson Academy for a state championship in the highest division. That was an impressive performance and one heck of a 2-game run where they really just took down, to me, pound for pound, MRA and a couple of other teams in the state were just dominant. And they put out MRA in just easy fashion last week and executed a game-winning, pretty much before the half against Hartfield with a dominant performance offensively and defensively. So they just look really good this year, man. And congratulations to JA. What a big win for them.
First state championship in a decade.
Been a while.
I think it is for Jackson Academy. So very cool. And in the way that the 2 rivals celebrate, they did it with Jackson Prep at home.
Yeah. So it was a heck of a season. You know, the MAIS classifications were a little odd this year. Not complaining, but with
that's one way to describe it.
A little different. So it took a little getting used to. But you know, the highest classification in MAIS, those guys can play with anyone in public school for the most part. Now, I'm not saying game after game.
Yeah.
But when you line them up against the top teams, those teams usually play very, very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully an expanded public school offering with some of those top 4A schools in MIS. It's those games are always fun to watch.
Yeah,
the cross-pollination.
You may have seen this note late last week. Education officials in Mississippi are raising the standard of education success for public schools. The State Board of Education voted last Thursday to move forward with a new A through F performance level cut for the Mississippi statewide accountability system. The new criterion will be used to assign grades to schools and districts for the 25-26 school year. Grades for the current school year will set a new standard for measuring the performance of schools and districts, and the state will not compare this year's grades with those of previous school years. The decision follows regulations that standards for student, school, and district performance increase when proficiency rates exceed 75% or when 65% of schools or districts earn a grade of B or higher. Schools and districts met this target in 2023, And so that prompted the Department of Education to start the process for resetting the accountability standards. That's not moving the goalpost. That's recognizing that, hey, we have hit a certain benchmark, and now let's create a little more challenging system to continue to try to elevate those scores. So good stuff there. The standard-setting process, including ongoing work with the Accountability Task Force and the formation of a special standard-setting committee facilitated by the Center for Assessment. Sounds like a lot of meetings and a lot of committees. But that'll be in place starting next year for school districts across the state. C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. We'll get to your messages. The news is coming up. A couple of guests coming your way this morning, including the Chancellor at the University of Mississippi, Glenn Boyce. He will join us just after 7:30. Caleb Sailors will be by this morning from the SuperTalk Mississippi news team as well. More MRC after the news. Glad to be with you on this Monday morning.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Get the inside track on Mississippi politics. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Monday morning, November 24th, the beginning of Thanksgiving week with you. Thanks for joining us. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Love to hear from you this morning on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Been telling you about the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals that are already available on the website at C-Spire. Check them out at cspire.com. But don't forget that C-Spire is kind of your one-stop shop for technology needs. Whether you're talking about wireless, they've got nationwide 5G coverage. Phone works everywhere you go. It's reliable. It's what you need. It's what I rely on throughout the football season as I'm all over the country. Everywhere I go, C-Spire is perfect. In fact, in a lot of places, I end up using my phone from C-Spire as a hotspot because the internet doesn't always work in other places. And so you've got that. They've also got fiber to the home internet. It's the fiber that powers SuperTalk Mississippi. It's the fiber that powers my studio every single day. And, of course, Business IT Solutions. The Business IT team at C-Spire is here to help you with all of the needs that you've got. We use C-Spire in my wife's business and have had just tremendous success. In the event that there is an issue, you've got people that kind of speak your language. You know, they speak Mississippi right there on the helpline. C-Spire is customer inspired. Check them out online at cspire.com. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here with you every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC. Let's check in on the C-Spire text line. Karen in Oxford, do you know what the radio play schedule is for this week? I'm assuming, Karen, you're asking about, like, just kind of, are we going to have normal programming? Today, tomorrow, Wednesday, it'll be exactly as you always know it. On Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, you will have best of shows. And then on Friday, we will start things off at 6 a.m. in the time normally that Mornings with Richard Cross would be on, a special edition of Sports Talk Mississippi. Brian Haydad and Michael Borky will have to get out of bed early, and they are going to lead you into the pregame shows, the network pregame shows for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. So you will get a unique and special version of Mornings with Richard Cross, rebranded as Sports Talk Mississippi at 6 a.m. on Friday morning. That means you get Friday off too, doesn't it, Lance?
It sounds like it, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, no problem with that.
Is that news to you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, just show up, baby. 6 days a week. So if they give me a window there to get out, I'll definitely take it. So, but no, I love doing this. So if I had to be here Friday morning, I'd have been here.
Stewart said, "Hey, ask the Chancellor if Lane is staying at Ole Miss." I don't know that he'll necessarily give us that insight, but we will ask him about the bigger picture with regard to this Ole Miss football team and the uncertainty surrounding leadership of the program. Yeah, here we are, depending on which time horizon you want to look at. We're either 6-7 weeks later. I did it. I didn't mean to, but I did. Or we're a week and a half later, and there is still no resolution to what Lane Kiffin is going to do next year. And what a weird way to be talking about that. In the past, when coaches have left one job for another, either by choice or because they were forced out, it's kind of flown under the radar. I mean, you might have some reporting about it a day or two in advance, maybe a week in advance. But and unprecedented is sometimes an overused word because a lot of times there is precedent for a situation. This truly is an unprecedented deal where you have a sitting head coach who since, about week 9 of the season has been openly discussed for multiple job openings within the same conference. And you've got a coach in Lane Kiffin who said, we're not going to talk about that during the season, only to go on and talk about it in different ways throughout the course of the season. But last week was the point at which it really reached a fever pitch, really going back to the game where Ole Miss hosted Florida a couple of weeks ago. It was when it really got heated up because Florida and its fans and the media that cover it were ramping up the speculation that Lane Kiffin was going to be the next head coach at Florida. And then LSU fires Brian Kelly. And LSU, who had been quiet in regards to who their next coach was going to be, not quiet on the periphery with the governor getting involved and the athletic director being fired and all kinds of stuff, seems to have emerged as the primary candidate to steal Ole Miss's head coach. And then there was the lore surrounding last week's meeting, a meeting that had been scheduled all week long, but we were into the middle of the week before it became public news that Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter were going to meet at the end of the week to talk about Kiffin's future. And I think there were a lot of people that thought, you're going to get definitive resolution out of this meeting. Will he stay or will he go? That did not happen. And it all culminated with a statement that Ole Miss made that said, among other things, Coach Kiffin and I, this is a statement from Ole Miss Athletics Director Keith Carter, Coach Kiffin and I have had many pointed and positive conversations regarding his future at Ole Miss, including meeting today with Chancellor Boyce. While we discuss next steps, we know we cannot lose sight of what is most important, our 6th-ranked team that is poised to finish the regular season in historic fashion. Despite the outside noise, Coach Kiffin is focused on preparing our team for the Egg Bowl, and together we want to ensure that our players and coaches can concentrate fully on Friday's game. This team is on the cusp of an unprecedented season, and it's imperative that they feel the support of the Ole Miss family in the week ahead. And the statement concluded with this sentence: an announcement on Coach Kiffin's future is expected the Saturday following the game. So that would be 5 days from right now. So the unprecedented part, we talked about it at least in part a minute ago with kind of the way that this is unfolded. But the other piece of this is you have a football team that is 1 win away from 11 wins and 1 win away from hosting a college football playoff game on the Ole Miss campus. And all of the focus has been on the head coach. Will he or won't he? Where will he be? As opposed to the focus on, a backup quarterback who's become a national star in Trinidad Chambliss, a running back who transferred in after a freshman year at Missouri and has gone for over 1,000 yards and went for, over 250 yards in the last game the Rebels played against Florida. Ole Miss trying to win a 3rd consecutive Egg Bowl against Mississippi State after winning last year in Oxford and the year before in Starkville. A 7-1 mark in the SEC if Ole Miss can win in its final regular season game coming up on Friday. All of those things. And yet the conversation has been about the head coach of the Rebels. What a weird time. What a weird time. Thomas in Greenwood says, what's your prediction on where we'll be in the Ole Miss discussion this time next week? We're going to know a week from today, and probably sooner than that, Thomas, what the future holds. Will Lane Kiffin pull the plug following the game on Friday and walk away from a team if they win that is in the college football playoff? Will he ultimately be able to do it? Will he say, I'm out? And then what will it look like for Ole Miss going forward? Or will Lane Kiffin almost go with a switcheroo? When everybody thinks the most likely path is to leave, only to say, nope, not walking away from this team. We just gotta wait and see. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
And the Venable Mississippi in the know. One morning at a time. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
But on the midnight watch, I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, larger voices calling. Whatever brought you and me cannot be forgotten. I have been around.
Thank you, Jimmy Buffett. Good morning to you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi, 21 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday, the 24th of November. About 15 minutes from right now, we will be joined by Ole Miss Chancellor Dr. Glenn Boyce. Some of your messages on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395, these pertaining to Lane Kiffin and the saga surrounding Ole Miss football. Add the normal emotions of the Egg Bowl to the emotions that these poor kids are dealing with daily due to Lane Kiffin's behavior is quickly opening the door and making the bullseye just a little bit bigger for Mississippi State. Ole Miss Hate Week will be more entertaining than ever before. CC in Senatobia, if he leaves, that will forever be his legacy, that he dumped on a team that he just got in position to win a national championship to stroke his own gargantuan ego. Thomas, does he have to leave at this point? I don't see how he stays. The reputation is done, and they'll be expecting the wandering eye to shine every time a big-name spot opens from here on out. Yeah, but Thomas, the thing is, winning cures all. Or I should say winning cures most. And while the polling might be different at this point, if you polled 100 or 1,000 Ole Miss fans and said, all right, ultimately, if Lane Kiffin says he wants to stay, are you good with that? You would have a majority that said yes. Because there is a proof of concept there that he wins, period. But the number who would say, no, let's just move on, is a whole lot bigger than it was a week ago. Certainly a whole lot bigger than it was a month ago. Somebody says, poor kids, not anymore. Yeah, not like it used to be. And finally, Tim says, I blame the NCAA for the hiring rules. The NFL is totally different. Yeah, the calendar's a problem. There is no question about that. Interesting story from the Associated Press. It dropped yesterday. The headline is this: big changes to the agency charged with securing elections lead to midterm worries. If you are operating on the assumption that we have previously had secure elections, then yes, I suppose there is reason for concern. Since it was created in 2018, the federal government's cybersecurity agency has helped warn state and local election officials about potential threats from foreign governments. It showed officials how to protect polling places from attacks and gamed out how to respond to the unexpected, such as a bomb threat or a disinformation campaign on Election Day. The agency was largely absent from that space for the elections earlier this month in several states. And there is concern that that could be a potential preview for the 2026 midterm. Shifting priorities of the Trump administration, staffing reductions, and budget cuts have many election officials concerned about how engaged the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency will be next year, when control of Congress will be at stake in those elections. Secretary of State in Minnesota said, we do not have a sense of whether we can rely on CISA for these services as we approach a big election year in 2026. The association's leaders, that's the Association of Secretaries of State, sent a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem back in February asking her to preserve the cybersecurity agency's core election functions. Noem replied the following month that it was reviewing its funding, products, services, and positions related to election security, and that its services would remain available to election officials. Feels like the concern there is external security. Anybody focused on internal security? Like, what's your bigger concern? Are you concerned with outside interference or internal interference? Are you more worried about a bomb threat at a polling location or a disinformation campaign, or whether or not your vote counts in the way that it was cast? Whether or not the machines that you slide your ballot into for it to be counted are compromised by being plugged into some sort of a network connection? Whether or not the data dump out of those machines at the end of the election is checked against the ballots to make sure that they were properly counted? Are you more worried about an entire batch of votes being thrown out, perhaps for nefarious reasons, or a cyber attack? I would certainly agree that security at polling locations is of paramount importance. Making sure that intimidation does not occur for voters at polling locations. But the Minnesota Secretary of State's concern, in my mind, might be misplaced. I'm not saying that concern shouldn't exist. But to me, the larger concern, if you actually care about these things, should be, did the people who voted have the right to vote? Were they who they said they were? Did they show a photo ID to verify that their name and address coincided with the name and address on the voter rolls? Did the ballot that was cast get tabulated properly? Were the people who were counting the ballots supervised, and was the chain of custody of the ballots after the counting of them taken seriously? and secured from point to point? See, when you talk about election security, you can talk about external threats all you want, but how about the sanctity of elections? Interesting place to put your concern. I'm not saying that the cybersecurity stuff is irrelevant. It certainly is relevant. But should that be the biggest concern? From Fox News, a story that came out yesterday, students from the Northeast are heading south in record numbers, drawn by universities where sunshine, football, and Greek life define campus life. Story says, rather than chasing the Ivy League dream, many students are now opting for schools in the Southeastern Conference, which consists of 16 universities, the University of South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss, and the University of Tennessee. Between 2014 and 2023, so a decade, SEC colleges saw a 91% increase in undergraduate students from northeastern states. South Carolina, for example, alone is up 90% over that time. They hit a record with more than 40,000 students this year. Out-of-state enrollment has jumped 58% over the past decade, largely from the Northeast, as the school student body has grown by 46%. Mentioned that Glenn Boyce is going to join us next, Chancellor at the University of Mississippi. Ole Miss has seen year-over-year growth for the last 5 or 6 years in total student population. And I think in 4 of the last 5 years, they've set a record with the number of freshmen enrolling. And yes, there are a lot of out-of-state students that have chosen Ole Miss. We hear about the enrollment cliff in higher education over and over and over. We've talked about it. People say it is absolutely coming. It's because of a population base. Does that enrollment cliff exist for schools in the South? SEC schools in particular, but we got the IHL numbers last month, or maybe it was the beginning of this month, I guess it was. And 7 of the 8 schools, 8 of 9 if you count the University of Mississippi Medical Center as a standalone, even though it's under the Ole Miss umbrella, saw enrollment numbers up. And the decrease at Alcorn State was only slight. Seems to fly in the face of the enrollment cliff predictions that have been laid out over and over and over and over. We'll ask the Ole Miss Chancellor about that and a whole lot more when we come back. We continue with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday morning, the 24th of November, the start of Thanksgiving week.
From the Seabrook Doctor.
Brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Know where the news is going next. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
So we go fight song right out of the gate here. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV, and of course on your Super Talk Mississippi radio stations. Pleased to be joined by the Chancellor at the University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss if you prefer, Dr. Glenn Boyce. Thank you, sir, so much for your time. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as we roll into Thanksgiving week.
Well, thank you, Richard, and we appreciate the opportunity to be on, and also happy Thanksgiving to you and to all your listeners out there. We're excited about this week. our students needed a break, I can tell you that.
It's crazy. You spend so much time building up to the start of a new school year, and you have that anticipation in July and August, and then you blink and you made it to Thanksgiving break, and you're at the semester break at the end of the year, and it really goes by quickly, doesn't it?
It does. And what you just said, it's amazing. All of us look up and it's coming to final exams before you know it. It's just such a busy time at any university, but at our university, we're so dynamic and we have so many things happening, and there's so much engagement and involvement all the way from what we're doing out there with our activities and what we're doing out there with clubs and organizations, along with our centers, our research, everything going on at this university, new programming, and of course our athletic department, that time just flies by, and the demands on our time has really become extraordinary.
We'll get to athletics in a second. I wanted to ask you about a story that I was referencing before the break. It was out on Fox News this weekend, and it was a report about Northeastern students making their way south and just the explosive growth that you've seen in Southern universities in general, Southeastern Conference universities in particular, with student growth from some different regions of the country. We have heard over and over and over about the enrollment cliff and the fact that there's no doubt about it, it is coming. Is it coming for schools in the South? Is it coming for Ole Miss at some point?
Well, Richard, it's a little bit, you kind of have to get into the details of what an enrollment cliff is sometimes. And it's already here, and it's been here, especially for Mississippi schools. So part of the enrollment cliff is predicated by the fact that at certain times, for whatever reason, senior classes, percentage-wise, don't end up going to higher education. More and more students, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you, but more and more students decide education is not a route for them. So in turn, there's fewer students for all of us to compete over. Mississippi's a good example. Is you have fewer graduating students, and if the percentage doesn't go up in number of students who are of those graduating students going to college or universities, well, you've got an instant enrollment cliff there. And when you talk about the fact that we increased in enrollment this year, you have to really go back and look at the statistics and data and ask yourself, well, those years that we decreased, how far did we decrease? And how many students did we lose? And are we just now getting back to some of our enrollment peaks, or are we exceeding our enrollment peaks? And for the most part, we're blessed at Ole Miss because obviously we've had enormous increases. Our increases would compare to almost anybody in the nation. And when you talk about the Northeast, or you talk about the idea that students are coming from all over the country, yes, that's true. And one of the reasons that that's true, without question, is the SEC brand is so incredibly powerful across the nation. And what they see on television and what they experience when they're sitting there watching, and the way that we reach out these days and the way that we compete for students these days is so different than in the past. And I always kind of laugh and I say, look, athletics gives you this enormous visibility in the Northeast and all across the country, no question. But you still have to be at your very best when they come touch you. You still have to be able to recruit them, because students today, Richard, will take and apply to, on an average, 5 to 7 universities. Because with the common application today, we anticipate receiving about 45,000 applications this year for our freshman class. That's what we anticipate getting this year, about a 7% increase over last year when we exceeded 40,000. See, so they're out there, and it's not like we once did where we were all filling out separate applications, sending in our fees and all that. It's a different world. So in turn, they're going to take and look at a lot of different schools, and they're going to get up and go visit these schools. They're actually going to take the time and the commitment to really look hard at these schools, because there's no question it's one of the biggest decisions they'll make. So there you go. And at Ole Miss, of course, and this year would be another case. I mean, we had 58% of the entire growth of the IHL system this year. I mean, we're one of the reasons that everything is growing without question.
One of the criticisms of Ole Miss when you took over as chancellor, and it's hard to believe that that's been 6 years ago, is that the recruiting process was broken. You had lots and lots of alumni, anecdotally, saying, my son or daughter never even heard from Ole Miss, or they got a postcard in the letter You made some pretty dramatic changes with your admissions team just right out of the gate. Can you tell us what those were?
Yes, and I heard the same things, and I heard them in waves. So no question. And I appreciated it. I mean, I appreciate knowing when we're not at our best. Okay, but here's what we did. We immediately recruiting and admissions was underneath the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs structurally, and so it was down in our governance structure, and I don't think there was as much attention being placed on it. Certainly as it was in today's world. Because in today's world, everybody has a separate department and division for nothing but recruiting students. I mean, we have our own vice chancellor over enrollment management. Enrollment management has the admissions office, financial aid office. Everything needs to be synergistically working together. So there's one place for parents and students to go to get everything that they need. They don't need to be moving between different divisions, different vice chancellors. So we just restructured the entire effort. And then the second thing you have to do to be really good, you better have a wonderful marketing team and a wonderful communications team, because it is absolutely critical that you stay fresh with what you do with your marketing and communications. I think one of the neatest things we did was we sent these alumni boxes to all of our alumni students. And we said, here's a box with all these neat Ole Miss things in them. And we want you to come to Ole Miss because we want our alumni children to come desperately to this university and have the same kind of experience that their parents did. And so in turn, when you make changes like that, and then here's the other thing that matters, Richard, it's kind of interesting. We send everything digitally to students. So parents would say, my student's not receiving anything. Well, no, actually your student is receiving a lot because we're on them a lot and we're sending stuff left and right to them. But there's no way those students are going to show that stuff to mom and dad. You know that's not happening. And there's not much communication about all the things that are sending to them. So the real criticism of us, which was absolutely true, is there's nothing in the mailboxes. There's nothing that mom and dad can touch and feel. Because mom and dad are going to the mailbox. They're the ones getting the mail out. And they're not seeing anything from Ole Miss. Okay? And so that was really a serious, serious problem. And so in turn, we began to develop a strategy for it all, for the entire picture, to be digital, to try to be digital with mom and dad as well, as much as we can. But, we all get flooded, right? Yeah. And so I'm only going to have so much open rate on emails and different things like that, but also to try to put as much as we thought necessary in those mailboxes and important information in those mailboxes and real high quality information in those mailboxes. And then one of the most important things is when they came to visit, we needed their visit to be perfect. And we needed them to know where to park, to where to go to meet them, to greet them, and to really have the opportunity to spend a day inside the culture of this university. And I can tell you, these tours that parents go on, and we have thousands and thousands of visitors every year, it's amazing, are led by our students. And we have a group of ambassador students who know more about this university, Richard, than I will ever know. And they are incredible. And they walk backward all day long, answering questions. And they walk all over this campus, showing them what the culture of this campus is like. And whenever I can, I will stop and talk to all these groups whenever I can, because they come through till I see them. And I leave my formal office open so they can see some of the history of this great university. We absolutely have it down to a science, and you have to have it because that's the expectation. And that's the expectation if you're going to win in the SEC with students, because our competition, Richard, is the SEC. It's really tough out there. And we already are very, very proud of having more in-state students than we've ever had in our lives. And we will continue to recruit Mississippi really, really hard. And in particular, we need to recruit our community colleges even harder. Because part of, if there is going to be an enrollment cliff, if there does continue to be this enormous enrollment challenge for us, then the community colleges and those students are part of the solution, because those are outstanding students. And from my experience, of course, all those years, I know how strong they are. And I know that they're looking forward to their next decision.
We're going to take a quick time out. On the other side of this break, we're going to try to hit 3 topics with Dr. Boyce before he goes. We'll ask about the football situation. We will talk about the IHL in terms of how it funds universities in Mississippi and whether or not that is something that needs to be tweaked. And then we'll also talk about the relationship between Ole Miss and its Oxford campus with the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. We'll try to squeeze those 3 things in on the other side of the break. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Dr. Glenn Boyce is my guest. We're back with you right after this.
And the Venable. No filibuster. Just everything you need to know to start your day smarter. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Back with you on this Monday morning, the 24th of November, the start of Thanksgiving week. Dr. Glenn Boyce, Chancellor at Ole Miss, is my guest this morning. I don't think, Chancellor, there is any coincidence that the success that the football program has seen over the last 5 years coincides with the success and growth in enrollment numbers. This is obviously a time of concern right now for a lot of Ole Miss fans. Lane Kiffin has been in the news a ton. You were part of a meeting with he and your athletics director, Keith Carter, on Friday, leading to a statement that says we'll know more about the future of Kiffin and the football program after the Egg Bowl this coming Friday. What can you tell us about that meeting or this overall situation?
Well, let me say this, Richard, and I'll address that question here right at the end. But I want to talk about something more important, and that is these players. I want to talk about the season that these players have given us and what a special team this is. This is a team that knows how to finish. This is a team that knows that they make plays when plays need to be made. They understand that. And this is a team that is incredibly mature and well led. They stay focused. And I stay in contact with, because, I'm a big athletic fan, obviously, and as chancellor of the university, it matters to me how these guys are thinking, what they're thinking about. These are my student athletes, and these are the young people who are providing all this joy and happiness we find out around here. Yeah. And so in turn, the players, it's up to us to make sure that they have a consistent routine. It's up to us that they have consistency in everything they touch and feel so that they stay focused and that they're ready, because obviously this is an enormous game that'll be played here Friday at over in Starkville. And we know the Egg Bowl is always an important game. We get that. But, kind of interesting too, Richard, is that a lot of these young men are from out of state that play on these teams these days. They don't have the same history of the Egg Bowl that we did all those many years when most of our players were coming from Mississippi and border states. So everybody needs to really work hard this week to put a complete focus on this game and what it means, even though obviously for us the playoffs are in play and for them a bowl game's in play. The second thing I'd like to say that people don't hear, I don't think enough about, we have an elite assistant coaching staff. They're absolutely amazing, and they do a tremendous job all up and down the line. And Coach Kiffin has done a great job putting together that coaching staff. And that coaching staff is really where the players stay focused. That coaching staff is the ones that keep them grounded, it keeps them led, and it makes sure that they're ready and prepared to play the game. And so I'm excited about the fact that this coaching staff has done this kind of job this year with this team, especially as teams change so significantly from year to year. You've got to be quite an assistant coach to have that relationship with new players and put together a unit that can play together effectively to win. And then the final point I'm going to make about that is, people talk about our stadium, Richard, and for some reason, and, I disagree with national sports writers about 99% of the time, because no offense to them, they've got a job to do, I get it. But the thing is we never get enough respect for who we are and what we are. And I just feel that way about us. And I would tell you that since 2021 at Vaught Hemingway, we're 35-3. The last 22 games, we're 21-1. If Vaught Hemingway isn't a hard place to play and isn't a tough stadium to win at, then I don't know what stadium is. I really don't. And when I hear about this stadium is filled up and the loud noise and everything else, And then I think about our record at our home stadium because of our fans, our supporters, and because of those wonderful and amazing students that come fill that section up all the time. I'm thinking to myself, you might want to start looking toward Walt Hemingway and toward Oxford, Mississippi to find out a tough place to play. Coaches know that. I can tell you. Coaches know that when they come into this town to play. At some point, I think the national media might want to take a look at that. So, and as far as Coach Kiffin goes, once again, we put the statement out, and the statement pretty much speaks for itself. And so talks will continue. They will continue through the week between Coach Kiffin and Keith. But our focus and our emphasis right now, and we're determined to be focused on this, is winning this last football game, being an 11-1 team, and being the first team in the history of the University of Mississippi to make the college football playoffs. And if we're not seated higher than we currently are, to have one of the greatest sporting events to ever come to Mississippi, and that would be a home playoff game.
Well, I'm going to have to invite you back. We're out of time. And I do want to talk about funding formulas for the IHL and the relationship between UMMC. I certainly agree with you. The disappointing part of this story is that some of the stories of this football team and these players have gone by the wayside as coaching decisions have dominated the headlines. Dr. Boyce, I appreciate your time very much this morning. Great visiting with you. And again, happy Thanksgiving. Look forward to visiting with you again soon.
Thank you so much, Richard. Same to you.
Dr. Glenn Boyce, Chancellor of the University of Mississippi, joining us on this Monday morning, the 24th of November. 8 o'clock hour is on the way. We'll get to that coming up next with you on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Pour yourself a cup of coffee and get the Magnolia State's most important news of the day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
8 o'clock hour, good morning to you. For those of you just getting started on this Monday morning, we welcome you to the program. Today is the 24th of November, Monday. How about a public service announcement? If you were cooking a turkey Wednesday night, Thursday, and you were buying a frozen turkey, now is the time. You need to get that turkey today and get it into the refrigerator so that it can thaw over the next couple of days and you should be good to go. Anything after today and it gets dicey, ask me how I know. I promise. Maybe you can find one that's thawed already and you're good. Public service announcement number 2. Lance, you ready for this one?
Sure, yeah. Sure.
If you have a frozen turkey and you are planning to fry said turkey, you have to thaw it first.
Yes, Mike Chaney will tell you the same thing.
If you drop a frozen turkey into your frying pot with peanut oil in there that is at a boiling point, you will have an explosion. And while it might be fun to watch from a distance, you do not want to be close when that happens. Don't do it. Really bad idea. C-Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. C-Spire, customer inspired. Mornings is presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey, looking to manage your personal finances. Our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does your family have a Thanksgiving tradition? Whether it is something that is food related, something that you do every year on Thanksgiving. If you do, I'm not trying to engagement farm here, but, we'll be a little lighter this week than we are some of the time. You've got an interesting Thanksgiving tradition? Hit us up on the C Spire text line. Love to hear it. Love to share some of those. 601-879-4395. If I remember correctly, Lance, when we were talking about Thanksgiving last year, you said your job is basically to show up and eat. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what's asked of me.
Okay.
Be available.
Nothing has changed year over year. That's still the plan. Show up.
We don't
with
have
an appetite.
Yeah, we don't have too many formal plans. It's real laid back. When my niece and nephew were always bouncing around and have 1,000 things to do at 14, 16 range. So
yeah,
it's just whatever.
Okay,
take it easy and enjoy family.
Turkey and ham?
I think this year we chose to do one versus both, but we have both. We have both the ham and the turkey, and we'll have both. So I'm sure it'll get, the ham will get taken out too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm picking up all the meat today.
Mm-hmm. We normally do Northwest Rankin. They do a turkey and ham cooking, and we'll do that for Thanksgiving. Deal. Yeah, it's just one of the things we do each year. That's probably the one tradition. We do that for Thanksgiving generally.
Okay. And
then Christmas, normal stuff,
All right. Hammy says we shoot a cardboard turkey with a 1950s Daisy BB gun. I like that. Like your Thanksgiving Day activity. Pull out the old BB gun, got a cardboard turkey out there, a little target practice. Get the kids involved with that. Very good. I think I've told you how our Thanksgiving has evolved. My wife's grandparents lived in Port Gibson, and they did big family Thanksgiving. And when we lost them several years ago, the family didn't break up, but it's like that was the gathering point, and everybody just kind of drifted and did their own thing for a while. And I guess it was about 5 years ago, my father-in-law was like, hey, let's get the family Thanksgiving back together. And so he invited he comes from a big family and kind of threw it out there to all his brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles, and everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was, hey, Jane, hey, Richard, can you guys host this? Like, sure, that'd be great. So, big crew. At last count, I think we're at 63 for
that's a nice little show in there.
For Thursday. So, looks like the weather's going to cooperate and be just spectacular also. So, excited about that. Let's see. You see that Marjorie Taylor Greene is stepping down from Congress? I think that news came out Friday. We obviously have not had a chance to visit. A long statement released from her, and also about a 10-minute video that she posted online explaining her decision, saying that she didn't want her congressional district, quote, to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for. Her resignation followed a public falling out with President Trump in recent months as the Congresswoman criticized him for his stance on files related to Jeffrey Epstein, along with some of his foreign policy and health care positions. When you get sideways with this president, you know that he's coming after you, especially via social media. And MTG was no exception. He being President Trump, branded her a traitor and wacky, and said that he would endorse a challenger against her when she ran for re-election next year. Marjorie Taylor Greene announced that her last day as a congressman would be January 5th of 2026. Trump told ABC News on Friday night that her resignation is, quote, great news for the country, close quote. The about face from Marjorie Taylor Greene is pretty fascinating. She was one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters, one of his most vocal and most visible supporters when he was running for election a year ago. And then she broke decisively with him. She had been closely tied to the Republican president since she launched her political career 5 years ago. In the video that she released last Friday, she underscored her longtime loyalty to Trump, except for a few issues, saying that it was, quote, unfair and wrong, close quote, that he attacked her for disagreeing. She also said loyalty should be a two-way street and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. Some of the reactions from Washington to Marjorie Taylor Greene stepping down have been fascinating. They've been kind of across the board. Trump also told ABC News that with regard to her resignation, and whether or not she had reached out directly to him, he said, it doesn't matter, but I think it's great. I think she should be happy. And by the way, he softened a little bit in some public statements beyond what he had said on Truth Social. Of course, AOC needed to, we'll just stick with all the initial people. AOC needed to weigh in. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that it's about timing. She's carefully timing her departure just 1 to 2 days after her pension kicks in and after making millions of dollars insider trading stocks for weapons manufacturers and others while in office. She is saying a lot, but her actions have not backed up the rhetoric. For all her talk, she's still voting with them to gut health care and advance self-dealing corruption schemes. Pretty significant allegations from AOC. Representative Thomas Massey, who was a friend and an ally of Marjorie Taylor Greene, says, quote, I'm very sad for our country, but so happy for my friend Marjorie. I'll miss her tremendously. She embodies what a true representative should be. Everyone should read her statement. There's more honesty expressed in these 4 pages than most politicians will speak in a lifetime. Representative DJ Jazzy Jasmine Crockett said, I'm going to be honest. I didn't see this coming, but the threats that come with being on the opposite side of Trump are real. People need to wake up. Trump only knows how to use people up and then cast them aside when he's done. Eric Swalwell, who has recently announced that he is running for governor of the state of California. I don't know what to make of it. We need her vote to put the Obamacare subsidies back in place because everyone's premiums are going to be going up on January 1st. She's been an advocate, actually. Even Keith Olbermann, the Looney Tune former SportsCenter anchor turned political commentator, I don't like her. I don't trust her. But God help me, I'm beginning to respect her and begin again to believe in the power of recovery. Weird situation. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. We're back with you after this.
Mississippi politics each morning. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Anytime the word sedition is thrown around, it is significant. President Trump referred to Alyssa Slotkin and 5 other representatives as engaging in seditious behavior when they released a video encouraging members of the military not to obey illegal orders from the president. Now, there were a bunch of people that got all up in arms over this, saying, you're telling military people not to obey orders. That's not how it's supposed to be. Well, in fairness, that's not what they said. They said you don't have to obey illegal orders, and they were encouraging them to have the courage to stand up against wrong if it was happening within the military. So what prompted this video? Was it a flurry of illegal orders that have come from President Donald Trump toward the military and a problem with people not standing up? Martha Raddatz on ABC asked Alyssa Slotkin specifically that on Sunday.
So let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Okay. So you're going to produce a video and put it out there with 5 other congressional representatives that says, do not follow illegal orders. You don't have to do that. There's a chain of command. There's a reporting mechanism. You don't have to do that. And when asked, so are there any illegal orders that the president has released? And remember, Alyssa Slotkin, longtime member of the intelligence community, and she goes, to my knowledge, no, there's nothing that has been released that's illegal, nothing that's been handed down in terms of orders that is illegal. But, and then some gobbledygook about legal gymnastics in certain areas of orders that are being passed down. So the president has not passed down any illegal orders to the military, according to Alyssa Slotkin. Wonder why in previous administrations we haven't had members of Congress putting together a video saying, hey, just a heads up there to all of you privates and sergeants and colonels and generals, admirals, commodores, and any other rank that you want to throw in, lieutenants. Hey, just a reminder, you don't have to follow illegal orders. Did we get that when John Kennedy was the president? Did we get that when Richard Nixon was the president? Did we get that when Ronald Reagan was the president? Or George H.W. Bush? Or Bill Clinton? Or George W. Bush? Or Barack Obama? Or Joe Biden? No. No, we didn't. We just saved that for Trump. Why? Because he's bad man orange. When's the last time you saw across the board the level of respect from the military toward a U.S. president that you see with this particular U.S. president? I don't remember. I'm guessing George W. Bush circa 2001, right after the 9/11 attacks on the United States. Now we know that there was military fatigue and distrust that set in with him later in his presidency. But I think that's probably the last time that you at least found a pocket of respect this large from the military for the sitting president. But Alyssa Slotkin and 5 other members of Congress felt the need to put that video out to make sure that service members remembered you don't have to follow illegal orders. Thanks. Appreciate the tip. C-Spire text line, Alan in the Delta, they had no problem punishing military not getting the COVID shot. Mose points out that time when President Obama killed a U.S. citizen with a drone. Thomas in Greenwood says it's almost like Congress needs to rescind the powers granted under emergency powers. Might be a slippery slope if you go down that road. This weekend, there was a new box office phenomenon. Wicked for Good. Did you hear about this, Lance?
I've heard about the promotions of it, yeah.
The newest Wicked movie, starring Cynthia Erivo. Universal Pictures' two-part Wicked gamble continues to defy gravity at the box office. Well, that's a cute little turn on words by Lindsay Barr with the Associated Press. Just a year after Part 1 brought droves of audiences to movie theaters around the country, even more people bought opening weekend tickets to see the epic conclusion, Wicked for Good. According to studio estimates yesterday, Wicked for Good earned $150 million from North American theaters in its first days on the big screen and $226 million globally. Not only is it the biggest opening ever for a Broadway musical adaptation, unseating the record set by the first film's $112 million launch, it's the second biggest debut of the year behind a Minecraft movie's $162 million. I don't know who all went to see it, but I know that there was a gaggle of third-grade girls in Oxford, Mississippi that could not wait to go see it in their pajamas on Friday afternoon. And moms were right there with them. I haven't asked for all of the details, but early results, movie was really good. Music was outstanding. Talked to a buddy of mine, told him that my daughter had gone to see it, and he said, already got tickets for Thanksgiving night. Whole family's going. All right. Wicked for Good. I will say that Wicked on Broadway was incredible. If you haven't ever and you have a chance, highly, highly recommend. The end of the first act, right before intermission, is one of the coolest moments, in my mind, ever on Broadway. Like, it's up there with the chandelier crash in Phantom of the Opera and whatever else. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395. In Texas, there is a new candidate running for Congress, and even if I give you his name, you may not recognize exactly who he is. But then when I tell you what his nickname is, you're going to remember. You're going to know. Offer Vince Shlomi is running for a seat in Congress in Texas, suburban Austin district. Do you know who Offer Vince Shlomi is? He's the ShamWow guy. You've seen the videos and the commercials for ShamWow, haven't you? He is now running for a seat in the Texas legislature. Lance, have you ever been victim of pulling the trigger on one of those infomercials and buying something off of?
My dad used to stay up and order stuff off of that thing. We got all the junk.
Did you ever get Ginsu knives?
Oh, yeah, got all that stuff, man. Got the Amber Vision glasses and you name it, man. He still has a pair or two of those floating around. He'll glue the little label back. Well, they're like the what they call eagle eyes now, but that was the thing back then. They're like the yellow lens. He thought he was Elvis, man. He was the coolest thing. He
Did
bought
it make
like
his
5
TV viewing experience better, or were these like shooting glasses?
They were whatever you wanted them to be. But the Vincent Shlomo guy, he got in a little trouble a while back. I'm interested to know how he's going to skate through this. I think it was down in Florida years and years ago. I'm not going to speculate. I was trying to find it, but it was that was one of the reasons why he's not doing infomercials much anymore, I think. But I always liked the dude. He was crazy, man.
Wonder if we could get the Flex Seal guy to be a primary opponent. What's more useful, Flex Seal or ShamWow?
Depends on if you need to put a screen in your boat.
Caleb Sailors from the SuperTalk Mississippi news team will join us coming up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Seabrook Mornings with Richard Cross, here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the SuperTalk app.
You're just joining us. Good morning. Thanks for being along. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Normally, this is the time where JT Mitchell would join us to talk about some of the news headlines in Mississippi. JT is out today, and so Caleb Sailors is in. Caleb, good morning to you.
Good morning, Richard. Yeah, you get the B team today. I will give a shout out to JT. He was watching history being made yesterday. He got to watch Dak Prescott live become the all-time passing leader in Dallas Cowboys franchise history yesterday, passing the great Tony Romo.
That is outstanding. Very cool to get to see that in person. Before we go any farther, I have something I want to play for you and get your reaction. You ready? Right. Here we go. You ready for this? Caleb Sailors engaged over the weekend. Congratulations to you. Best wishes to the future Mrs. Sailors. And tell us about it, at least as much as you want to. You did go to social media with it.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's public. I'm an open book, Richard. I really don't hide things. Look, Saturday I had a nice little morning plan. Me and my significant other, Tori, went and we had a little breakfast, and actually had a big breakfast, ate way too much. Then we went Christmas tree shopping. I was kind of trying to throw her off because I had told her earlier in the week, hey, you probably want to get your nails done, kind of suggested some things that gave her a little hint that we were going to have a big weekend. But I didn't want her to know everything. And so it was really casual, though. We went Christmas tree shopping, and then on the way back home, we stopped at a place that we normally go walking, a nice little walking trail with a bridge and some beautiful scenery. I had a buddy ready to take pictures of us, and I dropped down on a knee, asked her to marry me, and she was like, I mean, if I have to. No. She said yes. She was happy and had a wonderful day.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. And are you far enough along yet that you've set a date?
No. We'll get there soon. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a ballpark. She's already said no summer weddings because it's way too hot in Mississippi, and we do want to do something maybe outdoor. And so, no summer weddings, but we'll have that figured out soon.
Lance, it sounds to me like Caleb is about to violate part of the code of team no fall weddings.
Well, I also understand the bye week clause in that too, and so we'll figure that out.
I do need to clean up a mess I made. Lance brought this to my attention. I don't think he wanted to be the guy that said it on air, so I will. The Shamwell guy, Vince Offer, back in 2009, arrested for an alleged violent physical altercation with a sex worker in Miami, in a Miami Beach hotel room. Also sued by an employee in 2011, alleged harassment, stalking, civil battery, and intentional affliction of emotional distress. She claimed that he asked her to be his love slave. Okay, so that's part one of the cleanup. Part two of the cleanup, I mentioned that perhaps the Flex Seal guy, Billy Mays, should be his primary opponent. Yeah, he's been dead since 2009. My bad. My apologies to those who loved and were close to Mays and his family.
Miami, I know where I'm not going on a bachelor trip.
Good call, Caleb. All right, SuperTalk Mississippi News Team, what is the focus on this Monday of Thanksgiving week?
Look, I do want to give a special shout-out. I know you had Chancellor Boyce on earlier. I do want to give a shout-out to the Ole Miss rifle team. Got a big win over the weekend to close out the fall season. Beat a service academy. Beat Air Force. I had a couple of commenters on social media saying, I'm not sure if that should be exciting or scary. No. This Ole Miss rifle team is a juggernaut, and they don't get the praise they deserve. And that's a big win for them to close out their fall season. But on to more important, more pressing news. Full SNAP benefits have either been given out or are in the process of being delivered to recipients in Mississippi. The government shutdown put a little wrench in SNAP benefits being given out to beneficiaries. And look, in Mississippi, we have roughly 385,000 people on the food assistance program. And, prior to the shutdown being lifted, the USDA was telling states, hey, you can give up to 65% of benefits out. But now that the shutdown's been lifted, the Mississippi Department of Human Services had been scrambling to give out full benefits. But as of Friday, everyone should have gotten their full benefits. If not, they're in the process of being delivered. So that's a good news, especially with the holidays rolling around.
And regardless of how you feel about the SNAP program, the way it's administered, what rules or regulations exist or don't exist, I do think we can all recognize that there are a lot of people that rely heavily on this program, especially this time of the year. And the fact that those people are being made whole in what they were expecting to receive is a good thing.
And I want to give a shout out to Extra Table too, friends of SuperTalk, and they've done a wonderful job in kind of juggling right now, with the government shutdown and with a lot of people, worried that their tables or their plates would be empty even before the Thanksgiving holiday. Extra Table really stepped up and delivered thousands upon thousands of chickens and made sure food pantries were stocked across the state, and then kind of had the government shut down, let's do a big drive and let's let it coincide with our Give 'em a Bird campaign to make sure that, people are fed during the Thanksgiving holiday too. Cause we talk about Thanksgiving traditions and, I'm a big side guy. I love a corn casserole, a green bean casserole. But then I think about, when I drive to my grandparents' house or when I go to North Mississippi to see my significant other's family, how many panhandlers or homeless people I'm passing. And it really does kind of put it into perspective. Not everybody is as fortunate as, we may be. And it's good to see that, there are people in Mississippi stepping up and making sure that there's food, for them to have too during this time of year.
Along the lines of what you mentioned, Robert St. John, who is the founder of Extra Table. Martha doing a great job working alongside Robert. Going to be on with us tomorrow morning. He's got a new book out. And also some ideas to help make sure that your Thanksgiving dinner is dinner, lunch, supper, however you want to describe it, is the best. So that's coming up tomorrow morning at 8:30. So 24 hours from right now.
Might have to steal some of those recipes.
Yeah. One of the things that JT and I have talked a lot about is we continue to see stories in which young people are dying because of violence. There was a double homicide in Scott County, and law enforcement officials are now investigating a murder that claimed the lives of two teenagers.
Yeah, 19 and 18-year-old passed away in the Forest area, I believe, of Scott County. And as of this point, unless law enforcement has said otherwise in the last 10 minutes, no arrests have been made either. Yeah. That's another one of these tragic. And there was another earlier this year. There was a former Baylor football player that was killed in Greenville. Still no arrest made in connection with that case. And these are young people, Richard, and they're usually being killed by young people.
Deontek Strong and Todd Anderson, the two victims who were shot multiple times, and we will see as that investigation is ongoing. The Jackson State search committee has gotten bigger. They are searching for a new president, Chancellor at Jackson State University, and it feels like a hire that they need to get right. And you got some stakeholders that are going to ultimately make this decision. They're trying to fill the vacancy left by Dr. Marcus Thompson. What can you tell us about the additional search committee members that are coming on board?
Yeah, and I will say there's one hire that people might have been skeptical about earlier on at another university, and that was someone you just had on your program earlier that ended up in being a home run decision by the IHL with Dr. Boyce being at Ole Miss. And at JSU, you're right. I mean, after two, presidents go down in not a good fashion, for lack of better words there, they do need to get this one right. And I think it's good to see the IHL gauging. Now, there's 5 people added to this search committee. I'm not going to be able to name all of them right this second, but all of them are directly tied to Jackson State University. All of them either work there or have worked there. They're all directly tied. So it's good to see, like you said, stakeholders. It's good to see the IHL, going to the source, going to the university saying, hey, who do y'all want to be the president? Who do you think is best suited? Who do you think should be leading the charge here? Because, we've made decisions before, and the last two presidents really haven't panned out. So what can we do to help you and give us your insight here? And I think, the best way to know who should lead an institution is to go to that institution and its people.
Dr. Denise Jones-Gregory is serving as the interim president. She was the provost and vice president of academic affairs. Lance, I don't know. T.C. Taylor, would you throw him? He's done a really good job with the football program.
They're heading to a SWAC championship.
They are. They absolutely are. By the way, the 5 individuals added to the search committee by the IHL: Dr. Nicholas Hill, who's dean of the College of Business; Dr. Candace Jackson, secretary of the Faculty Senate; Dr. Deidre Wheaton, associate dean of the College of Education and Human Development; Brigadier General Robert Creer, retired. He is on the advisory board for the Jackson State Foundation; and then Patrice Edwards, who is president of the Jackson State National Alumni Association. Those are the 5 individuals added to the search committee. Caleb, great to see you. Wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate you coming by this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Glad to be on.
Always a pleasure to have the SuperTalk news team on board. If you don't follow them, you should do that. Visit supertalk.fm, click on the news tab, and keep up with everything that is happening right here in the state of Mississippi. We're back with you after this. And again, congratulations and best wishes to Caleb and Tori on their engagement this weekend. We're back with you to wrap it up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Got a clip I got to play for you. I think you will like this one, or it'll make you roll your eyes. Eric Swalwell, the House Democrat from California, has announced that he is running for governor, and he's kind of rolling out his platform. Did an interview with CNN over the weekend, and he wants Californians to be able to vote by phone.
I want us to be able to vote by phone. I think every Californian
vote by phone.
Vote by phone. Yeah, if we can do our taxes, do our make our healthcare appointments, make essentially do your banking online, you should be able to vote by phone. Make it safe, make it secure, but it's actually already happening all over the United States. I want us to be a blue state that doesn't do just a little bit better than like Georgia or Alabama when it comes to like voting access. I want us to max out democracy. Also, as it relates to democracy, if you wait in line for 30 minutes or more, if you do want to vote in person, I think you should fine every county for every minute that a person has to wait longer. We have to be better, not just a little bit better than the other states.
This is a guy that's critical of basically everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. And he wants to let Californians vote by phone. Hey, if you can do your taxes online, why can't you dial 1-900-I-CHEAT and cast your vote on your mobile device? In the name of democracy, he says, a democracy on steroids. Could it be any more obvious that Democrats want to be able to cheat to win elections? When he says, I think people should be able to vote by phone. We need to make it safe and secure, but no, you don't. How exactly do you intend to make it safe and secure? You literally want to put in place a system where the ability to vote when you don't have the legal right to vote is not a big deal. Of all the asinine things I have heard from a member of Congress over time, that might be at the top of the list. Thomas says, cool, I'll be able to vote 3 or 4 times in California. Ay, ay, ay. Man. You want to join the conversation, you can do that on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Deep South Power Washing says, Richard, a few years ago, I stayed at least slightly upset with you because I felt like you interrupted Haydad and Borky too much. However, whether you got better at that or I just grew up, I really enjoy hearing you on the radio in the mornings. Thank you. He says, have a great day in Hail State. My guess is that was the most important part of the message. He got the Hail State in there. Wow. C-Spire text line again open, 601-879-4395. Just giving you a heads up in case this is bothersome for you. I don't think it will be the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Special edition of Sports Talk Mississippi will air right here during this time slot, 6 until 9. Friday morning, your preview to the pregame shows. Preview to the game. Michael Borky, Brian Haydad will be here. I love that they have to get up early for that. It's going to be fantastic. They'll be on from 6 to 9. Then we'll hand it off to network pregame coverage, the Ole Miss Radio Network, the Mississippi State Radio Network. They're going to carry you up to kickoff, and then you got kickoff and a big day of football, a game with real significance. Ole Miss trying to become an 11-win team in the regular season for the first time in school history, and to lock up a playoff berth and a home game in the college football playoff. Mississippi State looking for a win to become bowl eligible in year 2 of the Jeff Lebby era. Kickoff just after 11 a.m. in Starkville on Friday morning. Speaking of Black Friday, we certainly encourage you to shop local. If you go online, a few of the deals that you will find: an Amazon Fire TV Stick HD, their newest model, normally $35. You're going to be able to get it for $20. PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, that's the slim version, normally $500, available for $400. I like this one. A DeWalt 20-volt max cordless drill and driver combo kit. So that's the drill and the driver with a pair of batteries and a battery charger. Normally $250. Get it for $170. A 4-pack of Apple AirTags, normally $100. You get it for $65. So what's that, 35% off? Quick math there. Lance, you got any experience with a self-cleaning litter box?
No. I've seen them, but my cats would tear it up.
Normally $588 on sale for $440.99. Some deals to be had later this week. Thanks for being with us on this Monday morning edition of Mornings with Richard Cross. For Lance, I'm Richard. Have a great Monday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.